Also, someone needs to tell me when I can go.
Oh, now.
I am dying otherwise.
Now, Finn. Now.
Oh,
We're
now.
live right now.
Oh shit!
All right.
Okay. Sorry.
Hello again, and welcome to SDGC for Thursday, June 11th. If you're not aware, SDGC meets right here every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the latest gaming headlines with a wide variety of panels and guests, as well as weekly pre-recorded content. If you've been along for the ride so far, welcome home. And if not, hey, feel free to stick around and maybe throw us a subscription. Every single podcast is archived the next day on our YouTube channel for those who like to watch, and you can find us on all major podcast services for those who like to listen. #SakiBless.
Sorry, I'm vibing over here. Finn, that was great.
Yeah.
You killed it, man.
Just vibing to the sultry sounds of Finn's voice.
Finn has what I would describe as dulcet tones.
I think that was Derek.
It's both of you, honestly.
Yeah, like Finn's voice is like a honeyed potion being poured in your ear.
We've got video games to talk about tonight, but first I wanted to say, Finn, you sound great. You look great. Your camera looks great. Your Wi-Fi you are getting all the megabytes, buddy.
And
up
you're
down. Up and down.
That's a really nice shirt, Finn.
Yeah.
It's a really nice
Finn,
shirt. You look good in that shirt.
And your beard is looking luxurious.
Yeah, that's a good
what
beard.
kind of product? What kind of product did you put in your beard this morning?
Nothing. I use Life.
You put your
cereal?
beard. Wow.
You rub Life cereal
It
in your
tastes
beard.
delicious when you kiss its chin.
Specifically cinnamon, because it rhymes with Finneman. We're here to talk
I can't
about.
argue with that.
So I don't think it surprises to anyone that today.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
I love it.
No, it's not. It's the best. You shut your mouth. So the best today is all about the PlayStation 5 reveal. But before that, we want to draw it out a little longer and talk about what we've been playing this week. And by that, I mean I want to hear Justin tell us all about that amazing game he tried out this week. Justin, take it away.
Take it away, Justin.
Yeah, so I've been jumping between a few things, but probably one that's going to be most interesting to talk about is Disintegration, which is a new FPS RTS hybrid. I got an early code. I was fortunate enough to get an early code for it. I will not be covering it all that much, however, because I do not have any good things to say about it. I've tried really, really hard. It is bad.
Give us like an elevator pitch. Disintegration is a game, the art style, from the art style to the whole.
None of us remember this.
Yeah.
This was not marketed well. We don't recall.
Yeah, give us a top level.
There's a reason why. Yeah, so this game is... So let me describe the opening cutscene in this game because it's incoherent. It is 3 separate cutscenes with 3 entirely separate tones that cut into each other, and I could not follow it at all. It starts off talking about some kind of virus that's plaguing Earth, and then it goes to an ad about a process called integration, where you get your brain put into a robot body, and then it's like, hey, check out who's getting integrated, and then it cuts to this dude wearing a jacket, riding a grav cycle. We don't know who he is. I don't know if he's a soldier. I don't know if he's a sports person. I don't know if he's a celebrity. But he starts saying some marketing pitches about getting integrated. And then it cuts to him getting tortured in a prison by other robots. And these other robots, I know they're the bad guys specifically because they're black and angular and have red eyes. And then there's a big prison break that is this big action sequence that is not playable with a bunch of characters. We do not know who they are. And then it just cuts down to the surface of the planet below. I have no idea what was going on. There is no lore stuff to read. There is no introduction. Every single character has an entirely different tone that they're going for. Like, some seem like they're trying to be silly. Some seem like they're trying to be dead serious. It makes no sense. Like, there's a part where you're walking around. Before the first mission, I did not play very far into this game. you're walking around talking to like your other team members in the base, and like when you hit talk, they start speaking, but then also there's a text box that appears. The text box and what they are saying are completely unrelated. They are talking, you know, about themselves and whatever conflict is going on. The text box is telling you about, hey, do this thing X number of times in battle with this ability, and you'll get complete some kind of challenge and get extra upgrade components. So then, you go into gameplay, and first off, I need to mention that I played it on PS4 Pro, and the performance was horrible. I think it has not only bad performance, but I think even when it does hit 30 FPS, I think it has frame pacing issues. It never feels steady, and everything is very juddery, and it gave me headaches to play for more than 10 minutes at a time. So that's another major knock against it. But like the actual gameplay, it feels like the shooter component and the RTS component are not just kind of poorly integrated into the game, but they're kind of at odds with each other. You're just kind of hovering in this grab cycle above the actual fight, firing weapons that are extremely accurate until enemies eventually explode. But like, there's ways to do critical damage, but it's not clear how it is. Like, there's no good feedback from the weapons. There's no good feedback from the enemies. Giving commands just is an ability that your team does, and most of the time it took me longer to kill enemies when I used one of the abilities than just shooting them. And your squad mates die extremely fast. And when one of your squad mates dies, you have to pick up their brain can fast enough.
Amazing.
This is the only thing I liked. Is their brain can falls out, and then you have to pick up their brain can, and then you put their brain can in another robot frame, and then they go back into battle. That was the only thing I enjoyed from this game.
So earlier this year, I played a little bit of the beta for this, which is just the multiplayer component of it, obviously. And this game has some roots in the Halo IP, which is kind of what drew me to the beta. And like, Justin, I kind of want to see if this resonates with you. My take from it was like, it feels like you are playing in the position of like a Banshee in Halo.
Yeah.
And then you have like the contextual ping from like Apex, but instead of telling people where enemies are, you contextual ping, and then your teammates will respond according
your
to
squad mates move there. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to add on to Zach's question before you answer it. Similar situation. I played an earlier version of it, and it also seemed, in addition to what Zach said, it also seemed to have roots kind of in like an RTS genre a little bit, like sort of you're active in the action, but you're also still in like a command position, and that was something that I liked, but it sounds like it didn't play out.
No, it's not a good shooter, and it's not a good tactics game. And it feels like in order to do one or the other properly, you have to completely take your focus off of the other one, and then you're just about to die. It's just nothing about it comes together. The art style doesn't work. Like I said, I only know the villains are the villains because the good guys are the brightly colored, multicolored robots, and the evil ones are the really cool looking black angular red-eyed robots.
That's how you know.
Yeah, John, you have a question?
Yeah, no, not really a question, just a statement, Justin. Like, based on what you said earlier, I really wish this game had been called Look Who's Getting Integrated. That would have been a fucking, because you could have called the sequel Look Who's Getting Integrated Too.
You think it was going to get a sequel?
Oh no, of course not. But I just want that to be the
Private
name
Division
now.
game that does well. I don't know, John.
Didn't Outer
Worlds did well.
It did well.
It won a shit ton of awards, even though it wasn't a bad game, but like other games were better, so I was surprised it did.
I would say that Private Division had a bad feel because like Outer Worlds sold well, but it also benefited from like the Game Pass bump, presumably, through PC and
I don't want to talk about Private Division, because if we talk about Private Division, I am going to start ranting
distracting
about what they did to Star Theory, and you don't want to hear that rant today. Anyway.
I'm being distracting. I am so sorry. Justin, do you have anything else you want to touch on in terms of Disintegration or what else you've been playing this week?
I'll touch a little bit on circle back around to me. I'll talk a little bit about Destiny stuff a little later. I'll give some other people chances to talk. I wanted to talk Disintegration first, because
It's
when's
new,
it
right?
out? Next week?
It's
I
new
don't
and
even know.
stuff.
It's out next week. Yeah.
Again, the
but
marketing. Who
It's-
knows? We hear about
it's,
Disintegration once a quarter when Take-Two does their financial reports, because
Yeah.
they say we have
It's,
a game coming out.
It's an unfortunate experiment that just didn't work. Like, you can tell they didn't have the resources or the time to make everything gel together. It feels like just a bunch of different ideas that are still kind of in a prototype phase that have not fully come together yet. So unfortunately, that's about all I have to say about Disintegration. I really wanted to be kind of like, oh, this is a cool game that came out of nowhere, but unfortunately, that's not how it panned out.
Finn, who's next? You're in charge of the
Well-
show, Finn. Who's next?
Well, I didn't know he was done. I don't like jumping in and cutting off my boy Justin.
But you're the leader, Finn. You're in charge of that. You cut off
You
whoever
should cut
you
off
want.
John.
you know what you got? Yeah, I'm only gonna
Loop
cut
back
you
to me
off.
later, but
Death
I
loop back to you later?
cede
No.
the floor.
Zach, hit us with what you've been playing,
Yeah, sure. So
and that's your time. All right.
fair enough.
Fair.
I yield my time. Fuck you.
I was waiting for somebody to
Um,
make that joke.
Yeah, so I think the one thing I want to say is that I dipped into itch.io.
Yeah!
Had their bundle
Yes.
their bundle for racial justice and
You
equality.
can still buy it.
You can still buy
Please
it. Okay,
pay
I've
more
got
than
it up-
$5
I've got it
if
up-
you can.
Yeah, I've got it up in front of me right now. So when I bought it, there were like 700 games. There's now up to 1,500 games in this bundle. $5 minimum.
Good.
I'm putting a link in the
Lord.
chat.
Thank you. So there's a ton of great games in here, really, really small niche stuff that you've never played before. A bunch of like tabletop RPGs that you can like download and print PDFs for, so you can play with your friends in real life or maybe through Zoom. And there's also like big name indies like Night in the Woods is there, Overland, which is kind of new, A Short Hike, Celeste is in there now.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, there's a ton of
Minute
great shit in
Game of
there.
the Year 2018. Minute.
Yes.
Sorry
There's
to keep interrupting you.
No, you're good. But so we've all had a week. We all have. And Tuesday morning before work, I hopped on and just kind of was skimming through like 25 pages of this, and I ended up stopping on Wide Ocean Big Jacket.
I did too.
It's
I
a
did
great.
too.
Can we both talk about this game?
You go, but I'll help.
All right. So Wide Ocean Big Jacket stars 4 characters. I took notes of their names. So it's Uncle Brad and Aunt Chloanne, Mord, and Ben. So Mord is a 13-year-old girl. She's camping with her aunt and uncle, and she's brought her boyfriend, who's 12, Ben, with them. Ben has never been camping before, and so the game is all about jumping perspective from each of the 4 members and the little conversations they have along the way. And it ended up being like this really short, like maybe an hour and 15
It's like an
minute
hour,
game.
yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing in the best way. And so like there's all these little cute ways the characters talk to each other, right? Like, so Ben is like a very, very timid character who's never been camping before, and so he's always trying to prove like himself, and he's also like got these weird like insecurities around his own masculinity, and so he has these interactions with Uncle Brad, who is his girlfriend's uncle, which is like awkward. But so much of the game to me just worked because it was about, I think we all remember being like 12 and 13, like those first significant others.
Oh yeah, it's like
who had-
super cute. They're like
it's so good.
they're like
It's so
they're like
good.
boyfriend and girlfriend, but it's like, oh, you're my boyfriend. Let's hold hands. Like
Yes.
like
And
it's darling.
And it's so sweet in the way that like Mord is kind of the badass, and Ben is kind of a coward in the sweetest way. And so you pass teens on the beach, and Ben just wants to get by them, and like Mord basically wants to talk shit and make them like get out of her way. And like it's just like the sweetest game. But also like there's also like these really cringy conversations about like where like Mord corners Chloanne and like asks when the right time to have sex is, and it's like these really awkward things that like you wouldn't see in a AAA indie, but like it's also done in this really endearing way. And the way you pick who you kind of have conversations with feels so good. You know, this happens a lot with indie games, but just the way the dialogue is written just ends up feeling I don't know, so much more personal, and it feels like the way that like Night in
It's
the Woods
really human.
Yeah, like Night in the Woods tapped into this a few years ago, and now other games have gotten better at kind of mimicking that, but like it is written in a way that like how you think people our age talk and also how people 10 years older than us talk and people 10 years younger. It's not written by like, it doesn't feel like it was written by a boardroom, right? Like you can feel the intimacy of like a 2-person dev team here.
Yeah, it's also, there's a really interesting thing it does where the internet has kind of, especially social media, has cultivated like a very particular style of communicating that involves like capitalizing certain letters and certain words to like do emphasis. And there's a really interesting style going on here where they will, especially with the kids, the adults don't do it as often, but the kids will capitalize the first letter of every single word in the sentence for particular kinds of emphasis. And it's hard. It's very hard to describe if you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And they'll do it in like very particular ways to sort of, and you hear it because you know exactly what that sounds like, and you know exactly what that looks like on the internet, so you recognize what they're doing. But it's very real and very good.
And like, I don't want to spoil it because again, it's a short game. Absolutely worth your time. Please pick up this bundle. One last thing I want to say about the bundle generally too is that like these games can pretty much run on like most MacBooks and most okay PCs because like they're indies that don't really require a lot. Like you could probably run this. Like even if you're like, I don't have a gaming PC, I just have a work laptop while I'm like working from home. You can probably run these. But there's this one quiet moment where, so again, you're going camping on the edge of a beach. And there's a quiet moment between Ben and Mord where they're talking and they're just sitting there watching the moon and the waves. And at one point, like they have this conversation where Mord basically says, you know, even if we hate each other 30 years from now, promise me we're gonna come back here and we'll just spend time here, even if we don't like each other anymore. And Ben agrees. And like there's this like, again, like they capture like this very, very nostalgic, like youthful innocence of like, yeah, of course we're always gonna love each other. And I just it felt like something that I could just really appreciate, and like it's a perfect wake up, have coffee, and like smile, and also feel like sad in the best way. It's just a really fucking good game, and buy this whole bundle and support an important cause, and also play a bunch of very cool indie video games.
May I add to that? I do think the other thing that the one thing that I don't think you didn't mention that I want to make sure gets mentioned is that you don't just play it's the perspective sort of shifts constantly throughout the game, and you do play briefly as Brad and Chloanne. You get their perspectives as well, and you get some intimate moments between them, and there's a lot of really lovely contrast because they are currently, I won't go into it again because it's a very short game. It's very much, it's less a game with like a big climax and a big drop and more just a moment in these people's lives, but they do have a problem that they are, you know, kind of going through at the same time, and they have like some intimate moments discussing it, and kind of depending on how you track, because like there aren't any choices in this game except for the choices of who you talk to and when, and sometimes you don't really have a choice, you just kind of have to follow the narrative, but sometimes like who you interact with is sort of dependent on, you know, who you're thinking of particularly in that moment, and so you can kind of get like different perspectives on sort of the conflict that they're dealing with, but they're young adults. I mean, I'm looking at this group of people on this chat. They're about the age that we are now. They're probably in their, like, I'd say late 20s, maybe early 30s. They're not that old, but they're dealing with like adult problems, and it's very interesting to see the way that they interact with these kids who are not their kids. Like, it's not their daughter and son or anything, but they're these kids who they do care about, but also kind of how that contrasts with their problems as adults. And I found it really interesting to play, you know, as a person, I'm 29 years old, a person who's, you know, looking at these problems and, you know, relating to both in different ways, right? Like both looking back at that sort of youthful, like first relationship, like, oh, like there's a really cute moment where Mort is like, I'm gonna kiss you, is that okay? And he's like, yeah, and they just sort of do like a little kiss, and that's it, and it's like really cute because it's like very innocent. But then there's also like these adults who are like, God, relationship problems, like how do we deal with these together? And it's just interesting to see the contrast and feel like relating to both of those perspectives. It's a really good game. Like, one, get the bundle, and two, if you don't know what the fuck to play in the bundle and you just have a free hour somewhere, White Ocean Big Jacket is a really good one to pick. It's like It's like low effort. It's really good. It's sweet. It's pleasant. It's not gonna make you feel like shit, which is nice. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that you had that to say, Reb, because you are the next person up. So
I just real quick
Reb,
want to point out to Reb, I'm not in my late 20s or early 30s.
Okay,
he's in his
well,
early 50s. Calm down, Reb.
got it, man. Got it.
So, Rebert, take it away. What else have you been playing?
Yeah, so Wide Ocean Big Jacket, I did the same thing that Zach did. I just sort of opened the bundle to sort of see what was there. Aside from Wide Ocean Big Jacket, I touched on 2 other games. One of them I only played about 20 minutes of and I didn't love. It wasn't bad, to be clear. I played Walden, which is basically like, it's like a, you know, Walden by Henry David Thoreau? It's a Walden simulator. It's a game where you're Henry David Thoreau at Walden Pond. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's like interesting because you go through and you like, there's like these little arrowhead markers around, and whenever you interact with one, you sort of get like an excerpt from Walden kind of about the area that you're in. You can talk to Emerson. I'm an English major. I was really into like American Lit for a while, so it kind of resonated with me in that way. I do think it sort of suffers from the fact that it is. I never begrudge indie games the fact that they don't always look like super high budget, right? Because they're not. They're indie games. I do think that a game like this would benefit from looking really incredible. Like, I wish that AAA budgets would spend money on making just this beautiful fucking Walden Pond simulator. I think that would be great. I think the fact that it's just kind of this forest of like the same kind of trees makes it a little less serene than it wants to be. And so that makes it a little bit hard. I only spent like 20 minutes on it because it was just, you know, it was Walden. And also like hearing, for some reason, the idea of Thoreau going out into the woods and then kind of like the background knowledge that actually his mom just lived down the street and brought him groceries or whatever the fuck it was, just sort of like screamed like weird white man introspection to me, and I just wasn't feeling it, so I kind of moved on. I think it's probably a really good game, and so if you like Walden or like that writing or anything like that, or just being out in nature and kind of hanging out, like I think that is a good game. There's like some like survival elements, like you need to get food, you need to fish and pick berries and shit. There's some exploration, like it's just pleasant. There's nothing wrong with it, but it just wasn't what I wanted at the time. Sorry, I'm going to go rapid fire. There's a bunch of games that I played recently. I also played Far From Noise, another game in that bundle, which is your engine has failed in your car and you have accidentally driven your car off a cliff. Your car is currently suspended on the edge of the cliff, teetering back and forth. You are freaking out because this is not a situation you wanted to be in. And you're having a panic attack, and kind of in the midst of it, this massive male deer, giant horns, male deer walks up to you and starts having a conversation with you, a very philosophical conversation. And the whole game is you having this philosophical conversation with this deer on this cliff, and it sits with you overnight, and you talk about like themes of like loneliness and what it means to be alone versus lonely, and what it means to be a person in society, and kind of what your ambitions are. And it turns out this character has like, you know, they were in university and they had some issues and they kind of ran away from it, and they were sort of trying to figure out their place in the world. It's sort of a weird game. I felt like it's also about an hour long. I felt that it had a sort of, it was trying to have an ambiguous ending, but I think what it actually ended up having was a cynical ending as a result. And I don't want to spoil it for people, but that was another thing. There's a lot. I'm finding that there's a lot of games that I think I would normally like quite a bit that don't feel good right now in the current climate, and that was one of them. I think it's a really interesting little indie game. It's got some really good meditative aspects to it. There's like moments where the deer is like trying to get the person in the car to, okay, breathe in, now breathe out, like, you know, take a moment, breathe. You can't physically do anything about the moment that you're in, so focus on the things that you can do and the things that you can think about, and, you know, work from there. And I think those are really good. I think like those qualities of the game are really interesting. I think the writing is really, really interesting. I think it's a little bit navel gazing, but I don't think that's necessarily bad, especially for a little game like that. So yeah, Far From Noise, if you want something just like a little bit weirdly introspective, and kind of calm, and like, I don't know, just something to think about. That's another interesting one in the bundle that you could try. I'm gonna go through and try some of the other games in that bundle too over the next week and see what I think.
Jonathan,
what's up, John?
I'm just confused about one thing, Red. When you say navel gazing, what exactly are you like? What's your meaning behind that?
It's just like it's very focused on itself. Like it feels a little bit self-important.
Oh, okay, all right.
Just a little bit. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like I think in AAA that can kind of be a bad thing, but I think in indie, like you're sometimes I guess it depends on the game. I think in the case of this game, it's like this little game about a deer talking to a dude in a car. Like it's like fine to be that way. It's just like be aware that it can be a little bit cynical. But speaking of cynical, sorry, the last game that I want to talk about is Imran and I finally finished playing Divinity Original Sin 2.
I was hoping you would talk about
yes,
this.
we finished it. I love the first 2/3 of that game. The first 2/3 of that game are incredible. The writing is so good. The characters are interesting. There's so much going on. The music is great. The way the systems work together, the way like the fire and the water and like all the different like field effects and the different like things on the battlefield can work together to make these interesting combinations that you can either play with or ignore and just blow shit up. Like it's really great. The characters, it's like D&D the video game. It's the closest thing to D&D the video game I've ever seen. It's really great, but you get to the final third, and Imran has like explained this to me, and I have not paid too much attention to it. My understanding is like the final third of the game from Arcs, basically the city of Arcs onward, was sort of like added after early access or something. Like it was added later. It was not part of like kind of the main campaign originally, and it's also been fixed apparently according like in the definitive edition. It's just kind of a mess. Like the last third of the game, everything kind of goes off the rails. Like the quests are. I feel like they're designed to be sort of like this web where there's like 5 or 6 different main quests that you're there trying to finish up before you do the final fight, and they all sort of feed into one another. Like one of them you do, and as you do it, you maybe get some information that leads you to the next one and so forth. But the game very clearly has an idea of the order you're supposed to be doing them in, and if you're not doing them in that order, then it gets really confusing. Like Imran and I went to this lady at the very, like, we realized we had missed a quest, and we went to go do it, and we got to her, and we went through this whole dialogue, and then she's like, okay, I have this really difficult task for you. I need you to kill this person and this person. And we're like, we killed them. And she's like, okay, cool, here's your reward. And that was just fucking it. Like, that was the whole quest. And, like, but nothing had led us to her. Like there was nothing when we got to the city that said, hey, maybe you should go talk to this person, right? Because if it had, then she would have led us to go kill those people. Instead we had to sort of figure that out on our own. It's just very bizarre. Like and then the final fight, I don't want to get, Divinity is a big game. I don't want to get too in the weeds on it, but there are multiple villains in Divinity. There are multiple people in this world. It's a very cynical world. It's a very dark world. There are a lot of people causing problems. And I sort of assumed going into the ending that there would be sort of multiple final boss fights. Like we maybe confront one guy and then find out that this person was actually in charge. And then maybe there's this whole god like causing problems. Like I thought that was kind of going to be the progression. No, instead they just packed every villain in the game into one room and made us and them all fight each other all at once.
So it's like a Batman game.
It ended up a giant clusterfuck. We failed the first time because it was a mess, and the second time we managed, like by luck or whatever, most of the bad guys all went into one corner of the room and fought each other, and so we just slowly picked off the rest of them one by one while trying to stay alive. It was very weird. It was very weird. The systems were not kind in terms of us doing co-op, like there was a point where we walked into the room and I accidentally triggered the dialogue because I think I walked in first, but the character was like, oh, I'm this character's daughter, and it was a character Imran was playing, and Imran had no chance to respond, and so even though that character was right there, they just never said anything, and I'm like, we have to restart because I really want to know what his thoughts are on this, and it just like didn't account for co-op at all. And then during the credits, even though I apparently got the good ending for my character, I didn't get to see it because I was playing that character. Imran saw it because he wasn't playing that character. So it was just weird and confusing, and it gets way too hard in Arcs. And the last third of the game.
Did you guys not fight the giant Kraken demon boss? And
we did.
Oh, you did? Okay. I found out you can charm it, and then all of the people it summons join your team.
Amazing!
Because it's a Void Woken. So you're right before the end, you're given that spell Charm Void Woken. And
I never got that. Who gets that? How do you get that?
You didn't? Well,
no.
At one point, one of the Void Woken starts speaking to you. It's like the only one that ever talks to you. And if you have a high enough persuasion, it teaches you Charm Void Woken.
What? Oh, Imran! You got that, Imran? Fuck you!
This is Imran's fault.
What are you doing?
Heard it here. This is Imran's fault.
Anyway, it made the fight so much easier.
He was playing Fane and Ifan, and I was playing Losi and Red Prince.
Imran fucked up.
Yeah, you did fuck up. What was that?
Hashtag Imran fucked up.
Derek, hit us with your games.
Yeah, I do not want to spend a lot of time because we do not have time to keep this
Sorry.
going for much longer. I have not had a lot of time to play games in general because I've been very busy the last 2 weeks with other stuff. But I started XCOM Enemy Within back up on a whim, and I beat XCOM Enemy Within, which I didn't think was a thing you could actually do. I've not heard of people actually beating XCOM. I mean, XCOM 2, that's the whole reason XCOM 2 starts with assuming you lost in XCOM 1. So
I think it shits in your mouth in that regard.
yeah.
I don't actually. Have any of you ever beat X? Has anyone in the chat? Has literally
not.
anybody who can hear
No
this
one
ever
has
beat
ever
XCOM
beaten
2?
XCOM. No
You
one.
I
beat
beat
XCOM 2? Is that
XCOM,
real?
not XCOM 2.
Finn is lying.
But
Finn's
I beat
lying.
XCOM, and I'm working on beating XCOM 2. I believe I will.
I've never beat XCOM.
Fucking
2.
incredible.
Yeah, but I beat XCOM, and I'm like, what the fuck? So that's what my gaming history has been the last 2 weeks is playing XCOM and figuring out XCOM and beating XCOM. So
Well, awesome, John.
I will go quick. I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which, what's to say there? I loved the first Xenoblade Chronicles, and Finn, my man, look at Finn with the good taste. That's a beautiful
Oh.
steelbook.
It's so.
It's great. I'm about 40 hours in. It's a big ass game. You can easily put 100 hours into this game. But it's visually it's much more impressive than the first one, but content wise, it's Xenoblade Chronicles. And I love it. It's a good game. I am also, other than my usual rotation of Final Fantasy 14 and Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, I am also playing Deadly Premonition. I got back into it. This game fucking rules in the worst possible way. And just to sum up, Derek, especially my experience, and anybody in the chat who's played Deadly Premonition, there's a scene near the very beginning where York is in the car and the car crashes and the screen goes black. And when that happened to me, the game instantly fucking crashed. And I was like, oh, well, I was like, I guess that's it. Like, he fucking died. Like, that's the end of the fucking game. And for anybody in chat who has played Deadly Premonition, fucking the coffee. That's all I got.
yeah.
All right. So I'm very disappointed in all of you because none of you have played the greatest game of this or any generation.
Mario
And
Sunshine.
that is the no, I said greatest, not trash can. Maneater,
Wow.
the shark RPG, the jankiest of jank, the epitome of turn your brain off and just have fun,
wanted
chomping
to
on baby seals, eating hammerhead sharks, jumping onto a rave concert and eating everybody there. Maneater is, I saw someone post that Maneater is like a PS2 game in today's world. And that's what it is. It's a throwback to the janky, garbage open world games that everything was there in the PS2 generation. Oh my god, it's so much fun. It's in the dumbest way. And I don't know, I feel like the voiceover character is Cyril Figgis from Archer, but I haven't actually looked it up to confirm it. But the writing is funny and well written, and it makes me giggle. And everything about it, from the Duck Dynasty-esque Scaly Pete Shark Hunter family reality TV show with the fake hashtags, and the evolutions. I now have these fins that every time I evade, I do a
I
circle
see what
dash.
you did there.
And I can take down all of the boats that are chasing me, and things have just become really broken, and I love it, and it's so dumb in every possible way, and everyone should play Maneater. It's on Xbox Game Pass, and if you want to buy
Wait,
it,
it is?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
on Xbox Game Pass, son.
All of a sudden, Zach's gonna drop from the
Wait,
chip.
Maneater's in Game Pass? What the
Maneater's on
fuck?
Game Pass.
What?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know
Isn't it?
that.
I thought it was.
I actually did know that. I don't even play Xbox.
Wait, let me check. What?
Hold
That
on.
doesn't sound right to me.
Uh,
Why would you doubt
Go
him?
on,
Why would
go
you say
on,
he's lying?
Go on. Keep talking
No,
about it.
Phil,
I-
please
you know
continue.
what? To be fair, I played it on PlayStation. My friend said he got it on Game Pass, so I just took him at his word. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know. All I know is it's awesome and everyone should play it. So, yeah, there we go. Ah, so good. Maneater.
Now I think it's PS5 time. Yeah,
You know what?
I'm hankering for it, Finn.
Did
I
anyone
got.
not talk about what they were Finn?
I think everybody got it.
Zach, me, Justin.
No, I made-
Justin,
I made-
we weren't supposed to go back to Justin.
I'll talk about Destiny another time. We don't have time.
Maneater's not on
Yeah.
Game Pass for
Look,
what it's worth.
Oh, it's not? Okay. Well, my friend straight up lied to
Psych.
me. So don't get it on Xbox Game Pass, but just play it anyway. Maneater's great. So we have two options for the PS5 discussion. One is Reb's frankly just pandering link to the GameIndustry.biz, beautifully alphabetized with the studio and everything.
I copied it from the press release and then went through and did a grammar and accuracy check.
Oh, well, it's beautiful, and you've even got it broken down.
And a style guide check, because
and
we
it's-
don't all caps some of the shit they all caps.
And you've got it broken down by first party and third party, and it really is just beautifully done.
Thank you, Sony, for the press release.
I wrote it down on a paper towel in the order that they were announced.
Why? Like, why would you write it on a paper towel?
Piece of paper, and I am nothing but a resourceful lad, okay? And so I took what was given to me, and I made do. And so I'm going to do both of them and combine them and read them in the order they were announced. And then
The chat, you
over to
broke
Reb.
It's
Bronson.
like incredible that you did this because, like, yeah, I wrote them down in an article because that's my job, but literally the computer is right here. You like could have typed them up in a Google Doc or a Word doc right
Yeah.
here. Like, and
Yeah,
you
but-
could have written them on your phone. You could have done
But
literally
then-
anything
But
other
then
than
it's
what
just
you
the
did.
typey noises when we're trying to watch, and I was being considerate.
No. I'm here for Reb lecturing Finn.
Oh,
I'm here for all of it.
Of the many
Beautiful.
options available to you, this
Beautiful.
is the one that you picked. It's just
All right.
incredible.
I love it.
So we all have to admit, love PlayStation or hate PlayStation. I think we can all agree that
Hate
starting
station.
off,
Hate station.
I think
That's
we
not-
can all agree that starting with Grand Theft Auto 5
my
is
God.
also
That was
Oh my
so
God.
bad.
Okay,
Like,
okay,
why
okay,
would
okay.
you do that?
I think starting with Grand Theft Auto 5 was actually a good decision for the reason that it was literally the most like commercial monetization thing in the whole show. They got it done and we promptly forgot about it.
I mean, you're
Putting
not wrong.
Spider-Man immediately after that was so
but
smart
spoiler
because
them.
we immediately forgot about it. Like no one thought about it afterward. And sorry, hi, business journalist. It is extremely interesting that they are putting Grand Theft. Like here's the thing, they didn't really go into it in the presentation. Grand Theft Auto Online is getting a standalone release on the PlayStation 5. It's not going to be exclusive to the PS5, but the free version, it's going to be free for 3 months, exclusive to the PS5 in late 2021. That is a fascinating business decision. They have stopped caring about selling copies of the game, and now they just want to monetize the online version. It's interesting. But yeah, doing that first and getting it out of the way so that the whole rest of the presentation could just be game was great.
Also, just like a
Red-
really. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
I was just gonna say red. Somebody in the chat said
Hold on,
red
Zach.
toy rank.
I was just gonna say that I think one of the weird things about this is like it feels like Sony was like this is like an obligation. It gets people in the door to play Grand Theft Auto because it's gonna sell itself. But what's buck wild is they were like, here's gameplay. It's not even on a PS5 dev kit. It's not even. Like, this is literally like they literally were like this is PS4 gameplay.
Late 2021. Late
And then,
2021.
yeah, but like, oh my.
The funniest part to me,
Zach,
too, is
calm
like,
down. Zach,
Do you think they
calm
even
down.
started on it yet? Like,
No, it was literally like Sony didn't give a fuck about it, and Rockstar didn't give a fuck about it. They were just like, no, just put the trailer out. They're not gonna notice. Just put a yeah.
Justin, what
but
you
we
got?
didn't. We noticed for like all of 5 seconds, and then the second Miles Morales
totally.
showed up, we're like,
Yeah.
what? I don't care
Yeah,
about the
totally.
other thing. Let's watch this.
And that's a
Justin.
fucking launch
Hold on,
title,
guys.
by the way,
Justin
apparently.
was trying to say something. Go.
I did think it was also really funny how Jim Ryan practically said that, like, that's not part of our presentation.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
they did
everybody
the
calm
GTA
down.
5 thing, and then is like, okay, now the event starts.
Everybody relax.
Like it was almost like he's just like, we know, don't worry about it, like, and then moved on.
So speaking
was
of
just-
moving on, what you got, John?
No, I was just gonna say there was one huge collective eye roll on the live stream we did when
Yeah.
that happened. We were all just like, "Oh God, come on!"
Like I get it. It makes sense. Reb has a very good point. You get
She
it out of
does.
the way. You
She
got to
does.
do
Right,
it.
but like, I mean, okay, I know y'all eye rolled. I know we all eye roll about GTA. I don't give a shit about GTA, but it is the biggest fucking money maker, and it is
Ever.
so interesting that they have decided that GTA Online is going to be late 2021. Like, when the fuck is GTA 6 happening? Is that like
Never.
late? The fact that they're bringing the online mode for GTA 5 onto the PS5 in late 2021 means we are definitely not seeing GTA 6 by then. Absolutely not. And probably not for some time after. So, like this is their thing. This is the thing that they are doing, this, like, long-term monetization thing. I don't know. Sorry. Business journalist gives a shit about this because it's, like, money moving around and how other games get made. But it's interesting. It's interesting.
That is a good way. It is.
This shot was a lot. I'm sorry.
So we followed up with and it was funny for our live stream because John had just said before the show started,
We're not seeing Spider-Man.
He was like, "We're not seeing Spider-Man,"
and everybody agreed with me. And then
so
it wasn't just me.
The first, like, PS5 game was
fucking Spider-Man.
Miles Morales, and the collective explosion of joy I felt because not only was it Miles, but it's his classic iconic costume. He has his invisibility. He has his electroshock. I don't even care if it's a full standalone game or an infamous First Light scenario. Reb, go.
I just want to point out that GTA 5 is whatever. Beginning with Miles Morales, we did not see a single fucking white man protagonist for 43 minutes.
Yeah,
this was a great show.
I didn't know if we wanted to talk that at the end, but yeah, like.
And the first one was Agent 47, and he's fine.
Yeah.
He's
Agent
allowed.
47 was the first, and I think maybe one of the only white guy protagonists we got in this.
It was-
entire
There were like
content.
2.
And he's
It
also
was
the
Agent
most
47,
generic-
and then it
That
was
was his
Agent
name.
47, and then Ethan and Chris from Resident Evil 8.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Well, there were the guys from whatever. Oh, hold on. The list.
Like you don't get more generic than Agent 7. He's a bald Call of Duty multiplayer character.
The one with the old man and then the adventurer. What was that?
Oh God, I know what you're talking. Yeah,
The
you're
Little
right.
Devil Inside.
Little Devil
Devil
Inside.
Inside.
Those are white
Yeah.
people, I think.
Okay.
The old man was definitely
very
white.
diverse presentation.
That's what matters. And it diverse in character representation, diverse in genre, diverse in scope, diverse in budget. Like, everything about this hit on so many. Anyway, back to Miles and how I gushed about it for 72 hours straight in my mind, and then I came back and luckily Gran Turismo 7 was next, which gave me more time to think about Miles Morales.
That game looks beautiful though, man.
Does
like
it?
Oh yeah.
I need to see that. I need to see that.
I just see Gran Turismo and think it's an inferior Forza Horizon.
It's not.
Ooh, it's not. But I mean, like, look, I don't give a shit about racing games unless it's Mario Kart. Like, I don't care. But Gran Turismo looked fucking gorgeous. Like, that's a smart move, right? Like, hey, have you guys noticed? You like all these, like, whether it's Microsoft or Sony, they always show a racing title first. Like it's one of the first couple games to be shown because they're always a visual spectacle, right? You always want to you want people to appreciate how
Ray trace
good it is.
reflections, baby.
Yeah, those like, you know, but yeah, no, it's not for me. I don't care about racing games, but I did think it looked really gorgeous.
Yep. I mean, it's GT is always like the technical showcase game. They trot it out every console generation to show you how pretty the graphics are, but it never matters to me because I'm never gonna buy it or play it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play Gran Turismo. I don't care. What happened next?
However, you know what I will play is Ratchet and Clank
Yes.
ripped apart. I think if someone went back and clipped my reaction to this from the Twitch stream, it would just be me screaming wildly and flailing. Yes,
This was really
I say
exciting.
this as someone who gently does not care about Ratchet and Clank in the sense that I think it's probably very good. Like, it is definitely, like, I respect it. It's great. A lot of people love it. It's not a game I'm going to play, but, like, that's okay. Like, Finn, it's like you in Animal Crossing. Like, I'm really happy that you have this thing that you love. Like, I'm genuinely happy for you. However, this trailer is very interesting. I think it was the longest section of, like, actual gameplay that we got the whole show.
Yeah.
And also, it was specifically gameplay that I think, like, subtly, not in the, like, very, like, Microsoft, oh, look at this fucking ray tracing kind of thing. But it was very much...
Although that was in there too.
It was in there too, but it was very... It was kind of, like, subtly trying to show off the capabilities, right? Like, there were a lot of, like battles with, like, lots of shit on the screen and some particle effects, and then there was the whole thing where he, like, dropped into the portal and then popped out in a different location, and there was basically, like, a 1-second load. It was just, it was interesting. It was subtle, but not so subtle if you knew what you were looking for.
Justin.
Yeah, so, yeah, going off of that, like, this, like, that Ratchet and Clank demo is like the one thing that we saw today that was really like that SSD flexing how fast you can load data.
Right.
It was like, and that's the thing that I think was so exciting is it's not just you can go between locations fast, but you can go between these dense, really detailed, really consistent locations.
Well, and what's
that
cool about that,
quickly.
Justin, is I got the impression
and it's like-
you're pulling those locations toward you.
Yeah. You're
it's like
drawing them in.
It's kind of both.
it's but it's super cool, and like I've gone through the like higher quality assets because the stream was limited to 1080p 30 fps. There are direct feed screens and 4K trailers out now. Unfortunately, none of the actual gameplay clips are available in 4K yet. I hope those come soon, but the trailers are out and stuff. And like the one thing I really noticed, and you know, it's really started with like Ratchet and Clank, is like the level of consistency and detail is really cool, and it makes the characters feel grounded in the world in a different way. It's not like this hyper detailed character against a, you know, pretty detailed environment. Like, it's just consistent across, which is really, really neat. And I think Ratchet and Clank is a perfect game for launch too, because it's family friendly. It has a long running PlayStation fan base connection, and they're always just good. Like,
is it a launch
it's
title?
not one of those games.
Do we know?
It's
if
not
a launch
fucking
title?
Knack.
I don't think it's a launch title.
I don't-
Insomniac released both Spider-Man and Ratchet.
There's
and
no
Clank
way.
at
Ratchet's
the
gonna wait a
same
bit.
time?
If they
Yeah.
didn't say 2020, then I'm assuming it's not coming this year.
We don't actually know which one of these are launch titles. Like,
Yeah.
some of them got
Spider-Man
years
was
on them.
holiday
Yeah, that's true.
2020.
There was less.
Yeah. Spider-Man was the only one I saw with
There
an
is-
actual like window.
No, some of them had Windows. GTA 5, for
Deathloop.
instance, is late 2021.
Deathloop,
did it? I must have
a
missed
few
that.
others had Windows, but yes.
No,
Sorry,
Resident
I
Evil
guess
had
I was
Windows.
just
You're right,
assuming.
yeah.
I guess I was just assuming Ratchet and Clank, but again, it's a game that I think is also a good like early generation game because it's not going to have the same kind of expectations on it as like say something like a God of War 2, like where they would have to be either rushing it and it could, you know, impact the quality. Like Ratchet and Clank, I feel like is the type of game that will come out at the quality that people expect.
Oh, yeah.
Appeal to a
'Cause
wide
Ratchet
audience.
and Clank
and be
always
great.
comes
Yeah.
out with quality.
Yep.
All right, next we have a game that John and I believe have different opinions on. Square Enix's Project Athia.
I don't really have an opinion on it because I don't really know what it
for
is.
This.
I mean, I love the fact. So obviously, it's
Cool
based on
Lady
the
Witch.
Agonized Philosophy demo that was released, or well, like, you know, the visual demo that was released years ago. But honestly, I would rather Reb talk about this because I know that she's got opinions on this and she's excited about this.
My
Reb, go ahead.
opinions are limited to, or like they begin and end at cool lady witch, cool lady witch, cool lady witch.
So there was a lot of talk about whether or not this was Final Fantasy 16. It is not.
It is
It's according to an email. I got the email too, Finn. It's a new IP according to Square Enix. Now, granted, you know, Final Fantasy Versus 13 was not Final Fantasy 15, but it became 15. So who knows what's going to happen? But I will say this: based on the word project, this game ain't coming out for 4 years,
no.
if not longer. We're not
It's
seeing
a,
this shit
it's a
for
working title. It's a working title.
If
we're not
there's
seeing
anything
this shit
we've
for
learned,
a long time.
if there's anything we've learned from Square, it's that they love to show a teaser trailer and then not release for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy
Yeah.
7 remake.
Oh
Kingdom
my god,
Hearts
this is gonna be a
3.
PlayStation 6 launch title.
Yeah,
Oh.
we ain't seeing this. We ain't seeing this for a long time.
PS6 Pro.
Now the question is it actually going to come out or is it our
Deep
is it
Down.
the new Deep Down?
No, it's gonna come out.
Deep Down
gonna
is
come out.
singularly unique. in
Right,
its-
exactly.
More
what it
threads
said.
have been created on Gaff and Era about Deep Down than there are seconds of footage of Deep Down on the internet.
I believe Rockstar's agent would have words with you.
Fair.
So I will
Alright.
say, yeah, like,
Reb,
like
you
we
okay?
don't.
I accidentally swallowed the fire candy.
Oh, yeah.
Reb, do you
I'm
want to go
sorry.
get a glass of water?
Live that cinnamon life.
Reb's got the water.
Yeah, you can't leave yet because our next game's all for you.
I'll just say this real quick, Fid. I think it's really tough to have an opinion about Project Atheist simply because we didn't really get a good understanding of what it is from the trailer.
I love
like
the
it's-
aesthetics though.
I know the aesthetics are
Yeah,
great.
Art style was cool. I'm looking forward to hearing more. That's about all I could take.
What
from
the
it.
Cool lady witch.
Yeah.
Cool lady witch. Cool lady witch. Cool
And-
lady witch.
Cool
And
lady
not only
witch.
that, but it was such a surprise that it was a cool lady person of color witch. Like
Yeah.
out of nowhere, just
Yes.
Was it?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'll have to watch it again. Then.
Yes.
So Reb, I am intensely curious on your take of Annapurna's Stray.
So this is deeply embarrassing. I was trying
that's
to
the
write
best
an
time.
article while it was going on, and I looked at it and went, cat! And then looked away to write some more. And then I looked over and saw Annapurna! And then I looked away and wrote some more. And
So like,
I mean, honestly, that's enough to sell me. Cat and Annapurna is
Basically.
great, but I didn't actually see most of the trailer.
the elevator pitch is all the humans are gone, and then you're a cat living in a world where like all these robots that were like assistants to the humans are left, and you're kind of navigating that world as the cat.
I love it.
Yeah.
And the
I
cat
think
has a
Derek had it
backpack.
best.
The cat has a backpack.
Derek nailed it best when he compared it to that animated short from Netflix.
What is it? The second one from is it Love, Death, and
one?
Robots or Love, Sex, and Robots? Which is the name of
Love,
the series?
Death, and Robots.
Love, Death,
Pixar,
and Robots.
Pixar would
Yeah.
not put the word sex into anything.
It was
Derek.
not Pixar, but no, it's like there's
It was like David Fincher
Love,
and
Death, and
somebody
Robots.
else.
There's the
Disney put
second
the word sex into the Lion King.
the second short
Anything's
film.
possible.
The second short film is about robots touring the post-human world, and it's very fun and lighthearted and silly, and it reminded me of that. Down to the cats being the reigning life form left on the planet at that point. So
Do you know what's in the cat's backpack? It's weed.
he
Zachary.
he can't have weed. He was going
He's got
to
a
his
point.
job.
Why do you have to ruin a wholesome thing?
That
to
cat
this?
had a job to
Weed
go
can be
to.
wholesome. It's 2020. Come on.
Yeah,
But the cats shouldn't do weed.
the cat has
He's
anxiety.
carrying.
It's catnip.
They don't.
He's
It's catnip.
scary.
Yeah, Justin gets it.
Okay.
All right. So after Stray, we got House Marquee's new game, the sci-fi horror style, like Groundhog Day.
This looks good.
Yes, Reb, you have your hand up.
Middle-aged woman! Middle-aged woman! Middle-aged woman! They exist
Yes.
in video games!
Justin.
So this game looked really cool to me because it basically seems like it's taking a lot of ideas and tone and stuff from like Live, Die, Repeat, and like making it into like a higher budget roguelike kind of thing. It looks really neat. Because I do think, you know, roguelikes are kind of like an interesting design for games, but I think, you know, kind of the paradigms that we've seen them in have been pretty well exhausted. And this seems like it's, you know, adding a lot of narrative and, you know, third person stuff with, you know, more of a mystery and stuff to uncover, which I think could be really cool. And Housemarque has always been a developer I've really liked. They push tech and stuff in a lot of cool ways, so I'm excited to see this one.
I apologize, but it's actually pronounced House Marquee because I said it once in my head and I refused to correct myself.
That's what I used to think it was called, and then I got corrected.
After that, we got Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which for me makes me very happy because I was a huge fan of Little Big Planet on the PS3. I am proud owner of all DLC they ever released for every single Little Big Planet game. And we never got it for PS4. It completely skipped a generation.
I think this
Oh,
would
it
be
did,
a
didn't
wonderful.
it?
And
Yeah,
it's
it did.
skipping
No, Little
another.
Big Planet 3 is on PS4.
Is it?
This
It was
would-
also on PS3,
So
but it was
technically,
on
this isn't
PS4.
this isn't Little Big Planet though. It's
No, it's
Sackboy
A Big Adventure.
Big Adventure, right? Like this would be a great launch title, wouldn't it?
Can I
Sure
just
would.
say that it's a giant missed opportunity to not call it Sackboy: A Little Big Adventure? Like, what's going on there?
No,
It's a
Rev,
little
I didn't
obvious,
even-
isn't it? That's what the
I didn't
name
even thought
should be.
about that until you said it. Actually,
That's actually too good. Like, it's so obvious.
that's
it's-
real
it
good.
hurts
Yeah.
me. But it's the 4-player co-op campaign is back, and if they can fix the floaty, jumpy mechanics, then I think I have another really wholesome ass game to join the PlayStation family. Yes, Justin.
I was really excited to see this come back. I love the Sackboys. I think they're a great little mascot. I would love to see them show up in some kind of like skits and stuff. And I love how they would do, costumes for every, big first party release, and sometimes go in with movies and stuff. So I'm happy to see them back in some form, even if it's not Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
My understanding of this title, which was, sort of backed up by the trailer, is that the kind of stage creation function is no longer in this game. That's why it's not specifically Little Big Planet 4. It's a different game. And I think that's maybe interesting, right? Like they have gotten rid of this one particular aspect. I don't know the reasons why. I don't know if they're, actively working on another game like that or what's going on, but it's interesting that they have not included that in this. And I think I know they've had some issues with that particular mode of the game, right? Like with the creation aspect, with like copyright issues and stuff. But also, it's like a different developer, right? Like it's not.
It's Sumo. It's not
Sumo Digital.
Little Big Planet 3.
Yeah.
Right. Because Media Molecule is very busy.
I think that this is a platformer specifically because of Dreams. Because I mean, like once you look at the scope of something like Dreams is capable of, then going back to something like Little Big Planet, while it's really interesting and fun, in comparison, it's extremely limited, and you would feel every inch of that if this was just another Little Big Planet game. So I think that's why, and I do not think that we're ever going to see another like actual Little Big Planet game. I think it's just going to be Sackboy now.
Derek,
go ahead.
Yeah. Also, this is just like this fills kind of like a section that Sony wants filled, where this is a very family-friendly multiplayer, like, a parent and their kids can sit down and play this game together. Like it's Knack. It's Knack, but for the PlayStation 5.
It's not Knack.
It's not Knack. It's better than Knack, but like Knack. The joke I made is that Knack 3 died so that Sackboy could live. Like it fills that same category in a better way. But that's what it's there for. And Little Big Planet wouldn't have been the same thing. Little Big Planet would be another like maker and creator tool, and this is very much a like, do you want to sit down with your kids and play something that they can play and enjoy that will be there presumably pretty early in the PS5's life?
I almost opened my mouth and said that we couldn't have a Knack 3 because we literally just got a Knack 2, but I realized that one, that's not true. That was several years ago. And that means that I have officially been a games journalist for long enough that the games that I have played and written about as a games journalist can now get sequels. Oh God.
I will say that one of the biggest components of Little Big Planet, which is the character customization, the trailer showed was still alive and well. Each character was fully decked out, so I'm happy that's back. Now, Reb mentioned that A Big Adventure was the wrong title. It should have been A Little Big Adventure. So a perfect segue from a bad name is the worst name. And so let's talk about Destruction All-Stars.
You think that's the worst game? I thought Returnal was pretty bad.
It reminds me of Urinal. It's not a good name.
But at least
Returnal
was at least original. Destruction All-Stars just is generic for a game that I actually thought.
Destruction All-Stars could. You're right. Destruction All-Stars could literally mean any video game that was coming out.
Looks so good,
It's a shame because the game looks really fun. It's like
it looks fine.
It's like BattleBots meets Rocket League.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought it looked fun.
Oh, absolutely! Like I'm looking forward to trying that.
Like I don't know.
Well, like, you know what, Derek? That's actually the first time you actually got excited about something. So take it away. Like what?
No, I just I don't know. We don't know obviously anything about the game. It's easy because of the immediate association a lot of people are going to have with stuff like Rocket League to assume it's going to be free to play or like a budget price purchase or something like that compared to like a $60. So we don't really know. But I look at this and I see, like, it's fun. It's a little wild. You've got a lot of players playing at the same time with something that's a little bit more like, to me, like, I think of the reason why I never really played Rocket League is because the idea of trying to play soccer with cars does not appeal to me. But playing goofy Twisted Metal in a big, ridiculous, like, gauntlet death trap thing glowing in neon, you know what? I'm there to at least try it, especially if it's free to play with some like BS monetization loot box aesthetic Like,
It's a great PlayStation
yeah,
Plus fodder.
yeah, sure,
For sure.
I'll give that a shot.
John?
I just want like I thought it looked fine. I do think that there were some kind of problematic tropes in some of the character design, and Kate, who is Latina, she streamed the conference with us, pointed out, she said, she says, oh, I see the Latino dude is a luchador. So
Yeah,
you
her
know,
and Lizzie, we were
like,
kind of talking about
like,
that, and it
like
was
why like
Well,
I
then
will
I'll
gently
mention
throw
she
out
went
that he
to,
was the first. I'm pretty sure he was the first character that was shown, and there isn't really a main character in this game. And so, as we go down this list, we still have not seen a white man protagonist. Not
Yeah,
a single
that's
fucking
true.
one.
Speaking
That's
of the
true.
list, we are we need to start like speeding it up. So if it's a game no one really cares about, let
I
me
care
know.
about
and
every
we'll move
video
on.
game. I'm a video
Because
game journalist.
Unfortunately, the next one for me was my
You gotta
favorite.
destroy them
Reb,
all.
let's talk about Final Fantasy.
No, the next game is my favorite. Probably
She
my.
said
biggest
she cared about
surprise
every
of the
game.
Show. What did everyone else think about Kenna Bridge of Spirits?
Yes!
Cool.
Was
I am
so
here
excited
for this.
Beautiful and
That looks
cute and
delightful.
nice.
Kate and
It's
Lizzie,
lovely.
Kate and Lizzie said that it gave them major like Kubo and the Two Strings vibes, which I'm totally down with. It's
With like a little bit of Miyazaki sprinkled in,
Yeah,
maybe.
lot
like,
of
Yeah,
a
we
little
Miyazaki.
talked about
something.
that, Reb, on the stream. Yeah, there was
A lot
some
of
there
Miyazaki.
were some Ghibli vibes on there.
It's gorgeous. It is so just vibrant, and I love a lot of the stuff that they're doing with, I mean, even like when you watch her like running and jumping across platforms and like the hair bouncing is very like, this is ways that you can use these powerful new consoles to enhance the aesthetic of a game that's not realistic. You know, it's
Yeah,
just,
I would-
it's,
yeah.
mwah.
I just, to Derek's point, like this was the first. There was a couple of people from SDGC in like a chat talking about the game when this trailer was going out. Like this was the game for me where I was actually like, okay, this is the first game that actually looks super next gen. Like you could only do it on next gen. I'm sure there's a bunch of shit in all these other games that like are utilizing the SSD that's like proof. But it was the first one where I was watching it, I was like, holy shit, this looks incredible. And like, it wasn't just the visuals. The visuals were great, but it was also just like the way you interacted with the environment, like was easily to me the first game that really looked next gen during the showcase.
It's also by a studio called Ember Lab, which I don't really know anything about this, but a bunch of people were yelling about it on Twitter because apparently they've done a really, really good Majora's Mask animation as well that people love. So that's like really fucking cool.
Yeah,
Like,
because
didn't know that.
sorry, this is a good place to talk about this. So here is where I think, I don't think you can compare this to Microsoft's presentation earlier because that one was specifically like just some third-party stuff, but I think you can compare it in the sense of like a business decision to take their big like indie third-party partners and put them right fucking next to their big first-party partners and give them equal time and equal weight. Like they had, this trailer was like just as important and interesting looking as Horizon. I mean, I know people know Horizon and so they got hyped for it, but like it had about the same, like maybe a little bit less time, but not that much. Like it had the same like amount of weight to it in the whole scheme of things. And there were multiple other indie games that got the same treatment to the point where like you really couldn't. It was really difficult to distinguish between like which ones were AAA and which ones were indie, just because unless you knew them already. And I thought that was really, really incredible and a really, really interesting show of solidarity for not all of their indies, but a small handful of their indie developers that they're like, committing to, for around their launch time. And I thought that was really, really wonderful. It was so good.
Yeah, I also thought it was just really cool how many of these games were new IP.
Yes.
Not a lot of sequels in this show. The next game, I don't know if. Oh, Justin, did you have your hand up?
I mean, just kind of adding, like the thing that I was very surprised in, and I just kind of want to add in a couple things that I was expecting to see here that I didn't see, and was kind of surprised. Like Call of Duty wasn't here, and this is the latest a Call of Duty has not been revealed.
That's
and
a good
like
point.
they're major partners between like Activision and Sony are major partners right now. I was really surprised not to see that. I thought this event was going to be a lot more bombastic AAA stuff, and it had so much more variety than I was
good,
expecting.
yeah.
And I was really surprised by a lot of the games that was shown, which was awesome. So I just want to say that it was a surprising event in a good way because of that.
Now, someone here might have more insight, but from just the next trailer, I didn't really learn anything about what this game was. Goodbye Volcano High, just a bunch of dinosaur high schoolers, and it looks like it's going to be the end of
Just
the world.
Life
Dude,
is
this game is
Strange.
gonna end with all of them dying.
It's
Well,
Life
because
is
the
Strange
logo
made
even
by
has a meteor.
Scalies.
Yeah.
It's Life is Strange made by
Yeah.
Scalies. It's gonna make me cry, and I'm here for it. Fuck it, I don't care. Everybody's like, "Oh wow, this is really for the furries," and I'm like, "It's 2020, y'all. We're all familiar with furries. We can stop pretending that we're like weirded out by it. It's fine. Like, it's a thing and whatever."
Right.
Does anyone know what the actual gameplay is? Is it a visual novel? Is it a Telltale style?
I couldn't tell.
Life is Strange type of game?
I don't know that there was any
Yeah, I had trouble. I
indication of
wasn't
gameplay.
100% sure.
So
I you know what's weird? Like I got like Oxenfree vibes from it though.
Kinda,
Yeah, I did
I
too.
can see that.
Yeah, like Reb.
It is made by Co-op, which is a studio that is a worker cooperative. Yay!
Oh.
also Imran in chat said that developers describe it as a gay Dinovision. So
The protagonist
Yes!
is non-binary.
Go
Fuck
for it.
yeah.
all right.
Fuck
Go
yeah,
for it.
do it.
After that,
Still
we
no
got-
white men.
Hold on. The protagonist is not binary?
That's what Blaine's saying. Yeah.
Still
I
no
don't-
white men.
No
That's
white
cool.
men.
Oh wow.
That's really
Queer
awesome.
Non-binary
dinosaur
pterodactyl.
Queer dinosaur high school. I mean, why? How could you not be here for this? Hi everyone, Derek here. This is a little awkward. So since the immediate aftermath of the PlayStation 5 reveal event that we're all talking about, some additional details have come out regarding Goodbye Volcano High. In particular, the lead writer, Kate Gray, is the same Kate Gray who wrote a very unfortunate article on Kotaku wherein she posted and uploaded simulated porn of minors, fictional and real in the case of specifically a simulated version of a teenaged Emma Watson as Hermione Granger from the Harry Potter movies. That was kind of fucked up. Kate Gray has dodged talking about that incident ever since it happened. She has only finally discussed it and apologized for hurting people, although not spoken about any of the specifics of what it is that she has done in a Twitter thread after pressure was put on her. But it's very frustrating, and it's a very gross thing to do. And as much as we gushed about Goodbye Volcano High, as much as I specifically gushed about Goodbye Volcano High, I didn't think it was fair to leave that go without that asterisk beside it. I'm not telling you how you should think or feel, but I think that's very important information. So yeah, apologies for the downer. I'm going to stop being such a stick in the mud, and I'm going to let you guys get back to the podcast you were here to actually watch and listen to.
That's
And
fantastic.
This seems like the kind of teenage angst stuff that I dig.
But can you just appreciate the fact that Sony took that game and, like Reb said, put it on their biggest stage?
Yeah.
For the PlayStation.
Yeah,
It's
5?
lovely.
To Reb's point, one of the things that Microsoft has done to the detriment of indie games in the past is they have a few indies that are like really promising that end up being the blowouts for the year, but they also are just like, here's a million things in a sizzle reel. And like
Right.
you end up and everything ends up homogenous and you don't really remember it, and then like it launches like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot that game was coming. So like, no, Reb is spot on. Like it's
Oh
it's
my
great to
god,
see
I just
people
opened up
do
the
that.
press release because I wanted to see what this game is, and I hadn't read it earlier because I was just trying to do this other stuff. And yeah, it's a non-binary protagonist. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Fang is a typical 18-year-old dinosaur. They're more concerned about their band going viral than they are about what happens after graduation. But they're about to have much bigger problems. Will they find time to figure themselves out? Can they balance navigating a changing world with a budding romance? During hard times, what do we owe each other? Goodbye Volcano High is a cinematic narrative adventure about the end of an era and the beginning of a love story. They, them pronouns in a game on the forefront of Sony's big software PS5 announcement thing.
Derek is losing.
Oh
his
my
mind.
god,
I love
I'm
it.
so
That's
happy.
really cool.
All right.
That's really cool.
Unfortunately, we have to move on because we are only halfway done this list.
I did
no.
not know that. That is so refreshing to see.
so
That's
happy.
awesome. That's
It's
great.
All right.
Queer as shit.
Question: who has strong feelings about the Oddworld franchise?
I like it, but okay.
I don't know
Hey,
anything
there's a new
about it.
Oddworld
going.
game coming
Yeah,
out.
the trailer
Oddworld's
gave me
coming-
big
going.
Willy Wonka boat tunnel vibes. Is all I know.
And then after that, we got Ghostwire Tokyo, which is
That game was
Yes.
not what we thought it would be.
Not what I
Yeah,
expected.
no, it was very different.
Yeah.
I'm
But
really
it
curious.
It was cool.
We don't know enough. It looks like we saw a lot of actiony stuff, but Mikami is really good at blending action and horror. So I'm really curious what that game will actually play like outside of a very action-focused sizzle reel. I am also, as Lizzie put it so beautifully during our stream, I'm eagerly awaiting the tea on this game because some shit went down during development.
Yeah.
And I think it's becoming very, very clear now that we've seen the game, now we know that Mikami has taken over the game, that something went on with this dream girl and this game, and I don't know who got screwed over. I don't know what happened, but like I want to know the story behind what's
I
going on.
suspect that Ikumi Nakamura was not thrilled with the direction this was going.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
and-
Something went on, and I
Yeah.
want to know. And I don't mean that there's a villain here. I mean, like, something really went on with the development of this game behind the scenes. And I think
Remember
there's a
how
great story
cool
there.
that ramen looked in the first trailer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, do we think it looks different in a good way,
To me-
or
So like I guess my thought was this. I was expecting this to be a kind of, I felt like this was gonna be the same vein as like The Evil Within, right? Same dev team.
yeah? So did
and then,
I.
And then in terms of gameplay, I actually felt like it reminded me of Bloodlines 2. What's that game that's coming out? Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
The Masquerade.
The
Yeah.
gameplay actually reminded me of that, maybe a little bit less janky than Bloodlines 2, but it was just like, again, like y'all were saying, it's just like it looks way more actiony than I would have expected. First person, like, sure. First person is an interesting. I think first person was the thing that actually shocked me the most. Right? Was like
Yeah.
I was
Tango.
like,
Tango's
yeah.
usually third, so.
well,
Yeah.
given like it's Shinji Mikami, I was expecting over the shoulder
Yeah,
third
this is a
person.
dude who
perspective,
pioneered
right?
the
Like,
over-the-shoulder third person. Like,
yeah, like he pioneered that shit. So
Yeah.
that's
I mean, I was just very excited to see Shinji Mikami presenting a new game. I obviously, I thought Ikumi Nakamura's presentation was great, and it's a bummer that she had to leave, but I still think the game looks really cool, and Mikami is somebody that I have a lot of faith in to deliver a good game, so I'm excited for it.
yeah, but he also made Shadows of the Damned. So
Shadows of the Damned was hilarious. I enjoyed Shadows of the
yeah,
Damned.
I can't stand that game. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to go off on a tangent about Shadows of the Damned. What's next, Finn?
So after that, we have another indie game called Jet: The Far Shore. It's another game where I don't really know much about.
I
it.
did not understand what that was.
Me neither. Me
I
neither.
wasn't sure what it was either.
It's a
It looked
game.
cool, but I didn't know what it was.
I'm good. I'm
Space?
personally good. I'm good with moving on from this one. Like
Also, I did not understand until I read the press release that Jet was part of the name of the game because
It's very
the font was so
stylized
weird.
Font, yeah.
yeah, Reb, exactly. I couldn't understand. Like I was like, I think that says Jet. Like I can't.
This is the
Derek?
one
I
by
thought it
the
was just
team.
some lines, some art.
This is
Derek.
This is the one by the team that did Limbo and Inside, right?
No.
No,
no,
this
no.
is
Sword
Super
and
Brothers.
Sorcery.
Oh,
This is
okay.
Sword and
Super
Sorcery.
Brothers.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Sword and Sorcery is great, by the way.
I think it's
so-
the same team that did Inside, though.
That's what I
No,
was
that
saying.
was Playdead.
Yeah, never mind.
No, it's not. Playdead has not announced their next game. They've only
Okay,
announced that
okay.
Epic is going to be
For
publishing
some reason
it.
in my head that was, and it's not, so never mind. All of my opinions are gone.
No,
So-
Playdead did not reveal anything on this stream.
Okay. Next up we have Gearbox's Godfall, which is the big like vanquishy action title.
Who cares?
Fuck Randy
So
Pitchford.
this trailer, okay, on their
Fuck Randy
Twitter for the
Pitchford.
past
Fuck
few
Randy
weeks, they've
Pitchford.
been like
Sorry.
on their trailer for the. Yeah, Finn,
No, I just
go
had a
ahead.
correction. I was wrong. And not Inside, Below. That's what Jet
Below,
the Far
that's-
Shore
yeah.
people made. Below. Okay, please continue, Justin.
That was
Um,
Capybara.
Yeah, so Gearbox is publishing. I don't remember the actual developer's name, but it's being published by Gearbox. But like, they've had teases the past few weeks on their Twitter account that are all like old English, very epic heroes kind of thing. And so I expected that going into this trailer. This trailer was not what I expected, given all the marketing for this game up to this point.
I don't think it looked very good, and like I guess
No, it
I
didn't.
mean, it just looked generic as fuck.
I think it did. I think it looked fun. Good, up for debate, but I thought the combat and action looked fun.
Fuck Randy Pitchford.
What's next, Finn?
After Godfall, we have Hyperlight Drifters follow-up,
Yeah.
Solar Ash. We still don't know really much about it or how it really plays, but it looks.
It looks like the Breath of the Wild to Hyperlight Drifters: Link to the Past.
It looked
right?
a bit like Haven, which is being made by the Game Bakers, which I thought was sort of a weird comparison given that they're both indie games coming out around the same time. But it did look good.
Yeah, I love
Hyperlight Drifter rules.
Hyperlight Drifter is a fucking amazing game, and like Heart Machine, I'll play whatever they put out. Hyperlight Drifter was incredible, so I am very much looking forward to this. Don't know, I don't know enough about it to like actually talk about it in an like intelligent manner though, because we only saw some very brief snippets of gameplay.
Yeah.
Obviously a big departure from the first one though visually, right? Like this is a third person action game as opposed to a top-down Zelda type.
Yeah. So after that, we had another brand new indie title. It's a new IP, Hitman 3. Has anyone any thoughts on?
I've never heard of it.
43 minutes in, first white man, and it's Agent 47, and he's okay.
Yeah, we stand an Agent 47.
he was killing government officials to me. That says that he's Antifa, and so Agent 47 can hang out.
Yeah. The coolest thing about Hitman 3 is that, like Hitman 2, everything from Hitman 1 and 2 of like the new standalone stuff can be kind of like imported to within the environment of Hitman 3.
That's right.
So like you can just get Hitman 3 on your new system and have all of the content of the whole trilogy within Hitman 3. It's a great, talk about so friendly to your players. I love that.
Hitman is a fantastic example of a game that is not a game that I will buy or play, but when I ever get a chance to do demos of it, I really love it. Like, it's really genuinely very good.
Zach mentioned in our chat that this game is pretty much a definitive tell of how the IO Interactive and Microsoft talks ended up.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of rumors last year around Microsoft wanting to approach IO Interactive for acquisition. Not sure if that was ever a real thing, but people sure wanted it to be a thing. Obviously, that didn't come true, it being at this event. Also, yeah, like Derek was saying, this big game basically being like, yeah, we're our own Master Chief Collection, motherfucker. And like using all the shit now is cool, because a lot of like honestly like nobody fucking played Hitman when it was episodic, and Hitman 2 didn't sell very well either. Like it's cool they're getting another chance, and also all the shit that people might have missed last gen is getting pulled forward. Also,
Zach, do you think this is the last chance for this franchise? Like, do you think? Because I mean, the past three have not been selling well.
None of them have.
They keep getting decent checks. I mean, they WB is getting decent checks to IO, and they're also getting stuff from Sony right now too. So no, I think they're fine.
Okay.
I think Bustin had his hand up.
Oh, did he?
I was just gonna say I was specifically excited because I did not play the other two Hitman games, and I think it'll be really cool. Like I can play all of them on PS5, like with with the updated engine and everything. It's really cool. So I think that's a super neat feature, and I'm looking forward to it.
I have a request. I'm going to say the next game, and then I'm just going to kind of gush for X amount of time. If you will just indulge me.
Acceptable.
And, thank you. The next game is Astro's Playroom. The next game in the Astrobot franchise. It's not a VR title, but I don't care. Oh my god, that game looked so joyful and wholesome and fun and adorable, and I love Astrobot and his little expressive face and the way he interacts with the world and the way it looks like a true follow-up to the PSVR game, but it's not VR, and I have accepted that, and I just want it so good. Oh, I'm so excited for Astro's Playroom, and I want it so bad. Please be a launch title. I don't even care.
Dude, I think it's going to be preloaded on the PS5.
Yeah, it's preloaded. It's preloaded.
It's the new Playroom.
Zach, you just...
Okay.
Somebody screen cap that. Somebody in chat screen cap that. Screen cap it. GIF it. Screen cap it. Do what you got to do.
I'm so happy. Okay. Okay, we can move
That's
on.
an emote. That is now a Discord emote. Whatever you capture.
I love Astrobot so much. It's so good. Ah,
Man, I love you,
okay.
man.
Okay, after that, someone talk about Little Devil Inside, which also looks really good, but I just need a moment.
It looks really good. It's got some kind of whack character design I did not pick up on until I saw some of the screenshots, and yeah, like
Is the premise that there's a dude who's sending the other dude out on dangerous missions?
I thought that's the vibe I
think
got.
so, yeah.
If that's the premise, I think there's like maybe some potentially interesting, like there's potential here for a sort of interesting dynamic of this sort of like person who sits around and does nothing and has all the power and sends this other guy out to do all the work for him. Like there's an interesting dynamic there that could potentially be explored. But I mean, I don't know nearly enough about it to say this could be good or bad.
All I remember from this trailer was there was a sign that said Schmeat, and that made me laugh.
Yeah, that was very funny. I saw that too.
I gotta say, the only thing I didn't love was there was a sequence in which the character drops a bomb and then it cuts to the old man and it's a poop hitting the water
It's
sound
not
when he's on
great.
the toilet. I didn't like that. I felt like they had maybe crossed the line for me personally with the poop. But you know, I actually did like the art style. The art style reminded me of Below a little bit. So you know what? Sure, it looks cool. I like the name. I think it's a really good name. And the name would suggest to me, like Imran suggests this in the chat. I just dropped my pen. Imran suggests this in chat that like maybe he's inside the character, and based on the name of the game, that kind of seems like it would check out. So yeah.
Okay, it's a Kickstarter. It's a 3D action adventure RPG game. You're thrown into a surreal, familiar setting, humans, creatures, monsters. People with unusual jobs, such as hunting monsters and what happens in their everyday life. So yeah, it sounds like it's about a monster hunter who's doing this job for like this person.
Yeah, because the trailer started with the monster hunter guy dragging a carcass to the old guy's house.
Word.
So I don't think they're the same person or inside or whatnot.
Fair enough.
All right, after that, I think we can all just agree that NBA 2K21 is going to make a shit ton of money, and it featured the Pelicans, so go NOLA. But
it was a sweaty trailer.
Yeah,
Sweat always is.
The sweat looked great. The sweat looked luscious. Yeah, like it was very sweaty.
The next game I have a very specific message from Saki for, because it's Bug Snacks, and it's a game with Red pointed out perfectly. It's a Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs like food monster animals, but with Kogasu, our good friend Kogasu's affinity for googly eyes.
That's a horror game.
And as Zach pointed out, it's like Viva Pinata if you're on acid. It just looks like.
And the Bug Snack song.
No.
Yeah.
This is the one with the food monster at the end, right? Like the
Yes.
food monster. This had the food monster at the end. Yeah, fuck that. No. I don't know.
Somebody talked about
I
having
want no part
weenie
of this.
arms, and that's not.
That's nightmare fuel. That's nightmare fuel. I want no part of
just
this.
want to point
That'd
out.
be great for kids.
We watched
Characters
this
with
entire-
sausage hands. No.
Weenie
weenie
arms.
hands. He was trying
Weenie
to carry
hand.
a lamp with his weenie hands, and it dropped.
It's a kids game.
I don't like
All
wiener
know-
hands. I don't
John,
like
all I
Edward
know
Wiener hands.
is We were watching this, and that was the first game Saki sat up and looked at me and said, "You have to buy it, and I get to play it." So it did something right.
One note.
No.
I was kind of baffled by this trailer until I found out that it was from the developers of Octodad, and then everything kind of fell into place and made sense for me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Octodad. I thought that game was hilarious. I thought it was really fun. So I'm excited to see what the final version of this is, because if it can make me laugh as much as Octodad did, it'll have done its job.
A fun side note: Octodad was actually one of the big indies touted at the PS4 launch reveal. Like that was one of Sony's big indie pushes, was Octodad for the PS4 launch. So fun that we've come full circle. I'm gonna let John take.
Hold on.
point
Sorry, before you do, I know we're like on a time crunch, but thank you to I can't say it.
Gary GT, and then also Yosemite
thank you so
Blam.
much, Yosemite Blam, and to Lurbinar for all the gifted subs and all the subs. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah,
That's
It's
wild.
lovely of you all.
Yosemite went blam on that gifted button. I don't know. That's all I got.
Why? Don't do that. Okay,
John, talk about Demon Souls.
Oh fuck yeah! I'll talk about Demon Souls. So, the worst kept secret in the industry for like the past year, I think. I mean, like everybody knew the Demon Souls was being remade by Blue Point. What I was not expecting was like a fucking PlayStation 3, an early era PlayStation 3 game is now a visual tour de force for the PlayStation 5, which just fucking kind of blows my mind. But as somebody who played a shit ton of Demon Souls, like seeing classic monsters and characters that I'm familiar with, like the Fire Lurker and the Dragon God, like really, and the Tower Knight, given what they did with Shadow of the Colossus, I could not be more excited for the Demon Souls remake. And but I will say that let them make Blue Point's next game needs to be just an original IP that they themselves have worked up. I would love to see what they would do when they're not restricted by a game that already exists. Like, let them cut loose. But yeah, Demon Souls looks fucking incredible. I don't remember if there was a release window shown for this.
No.
I would be willing to bet sometime next year, I think, is reasonable. And of course, it's a Blue Point game, so this will be a PlayStation exclusive, just like the original Demon Souls was. But yeah, I thought it looked fucking great. I mean, it's Demon Souls, so I know what I'm getting. But if I can play Demon Souls at 60 frames a second, I'm fucking all in on that shit. What's up, Justin?
So, one of my favorite parts about this reveal that I think might have gone over some people's heads, it was Shuhei Yoshida himself getting out in front of it and saying, "This one is very important to me," because Shu is kind of infamous for turning down publishing Demon Souls in the West because he played an early build of it and he said it was a really bad game.
Yeah,
the version he played was running terribly. It was really hard. Nobody understood it. And so that moment was kind of like his mea culpa. Like, since then he's explained, when the game came out, he ended up loving it, but it was too late for Sony to publish it in the West because they had already passed. So him coming out and introducing this remake was a really, really fun moment for those that know that story.
I think it's weird that game's not coming out at launch, considering how many rumors were about launch, but also I think Sony was intentionally a little bit vague about what games are coming out at launch. That's all I've got.
There was a lot.
I don't know what games are coming. I have zero idea.
They don't want you to know. They're all launch windows.
Spider-Man will be there at the holiday, which I may not be launched, but it'll be Black Friday probably, which is what matters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were intentionally vague there, and I get it, because, part of me wants to be cynical and be like, that's kind of a dick thing to do to your customers. The other part of me is like, no, Zach, COVID. Adapt, shit happens, stuff moves. But it was weird.
Finn, we got to talk about Resident Evil 8. If we're
we are running very short on time.
Over. This is gonna happen.
I know people want to talk about Deathloop. Look,
we're gonna go over time. If anyone has an issue,
we're gonna go over time.
I have no issues here.
How long has it been since we've had honest to God video game hype news?
We haven't. There's been no
That's the
news.
thing. I can't even be upset. We're so used to.
We're so
used to spending 50 minutes on what we've been playing that we weren't ready to transition out of that mode.
I know, right?
We don't know how to do a podcast anymore. It's confusing.
All right, so Arcane Studios dropping the first real in-depth look of Deathloop. I'm loving the aesthetic of just the Quentin Tarantino.
It looks very Tarantino-esque,
look, but
really 70s. It was really cool.
I'm gonna cede the floor because I know there are bigger Arcane fans here than me, like Justin and Zach. So if anyone wants to take the floor on this one,
I have
Zach, you want to go or should I?
I mean, I'll swing back around, but I guess my first thing is that I think that the gameplay looks great. It looks like a big departure for it looks like Arcane is stretching their legs in the right ways, but also some big departures in terms of their structure and style. I think that looks really cool. I'm disappointed in some of the business things, but at the end of the conversation we can swing back around on that. But Justin, do you want to talk a little bit just your take on the gameplay aspects of it?
Yeah, no, I thought it looked really cool. I really kind of like what they're talking about with what was Housemarque's game called again?
Returnal?
Yeah.
Returnal Urinal? Yep.
It's kind of okay, each time you go through and you have to learn stuff, but I just love the tone and visual style of it, that 70s animation look, the kind of cheesy spy movie voiceover kind of stuff. like aesthetically and gameplay wise, it looked super super cool. I've been a big fan of Arcane for a while, and I'm really really excited to get my hands on this one. This was not a game I was expecting to show up at this event either. So I thought it was particularly awesome that it had a good showing and that it was here. So
Yeah.
Did we lose somebody? Oh, we lost Finn
came
for a
back.
minute.
So for people
Okay.
who
Was
might
it?
have missed it, I'll give a quick recap. So after the show, again, look, Deathloop easily to me standout game of the show for me in terms of structure. One of the disappointing reveals at the end of the show that Sony, I'm actually surprised they hid this because it seems something that, like, I would be proud to share if I had spent a shitload of money to do it. Was that both Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are console launch exclusives on the PS5. Which is to me a little bit disappointing, given that all
I don't like it either.
Well, so to me it's disappointing because the original games, like when those games were revealed a year ago, those games were announced as multiplats, and I guess they eventually will be. But it's disappointing. But like the thing worth pointing out is that Dishonored 2 didn't have great sales. Death of the Outsider had bad sales. When Prey launched, it was 60% down compared to Dishonored 2's sales. Evil Within 2 sold terribly. And I think these games have all made up for it over time. Bethesda always, especially with their single player games, does make up for their stuff in sales. But basically, like, I think there's a lot of reasons why Sony and Bethesda came to this deal, but ultimately it's that Arcane hasn't shown that their games sell really fast, which is disappointing. I love their games. And same thing goes with Tango. So, like, I get it from the money perspective, but it's a little bit disappointing. Like, there wasn't a world in which I wasn't getting both of these consoles. I was going to, but it feels a little bit icky when this game was like, everyone's going to get to have this. And they're just like, psych. It feels a little bit shitty. It feels a little bit shitty.
You still get it, just later.
Later, and it will look better on the console, but like, I mean, it sucks. It sucks, right? Like, I mean, it's the same thing as like Titanfall at the launch of last gen, right? Where like people kind of anticipated like, oh, we'll get it eventually. I mean, I guess it will come eventually too. You know, it's one of those things where like it's like Final Fantasy, except at least Final Fantasy they never told us that it was coming to Xbox at the same time. I don't know, it sucks, but also like people will get over it because people plan on buying both.
They do, but I mean, your feelings on this are valid, Zach. Like it kind of reminds me of all the PlayStation 4 timed exclusive stuff that Destiny had. And I'm never a fan of this stuff ever. I do not like third-party exclusivity in any form at all.
It's a tricky balance to strike, right? Because you're a person who makes a console and you want to have you simultaneously both want to have exclusives to your console, like things that will get people to buy your console specifically and not the other fucking console. And we're at a point where there are a standard number of hardware features that every console just fucking needs to have. Like you can't get away with not having. I mean, I guess if you have the Nintendo Switch, you don't need Netflix or whatever. But there are certain things that you have to have on your console in order for it to function, right? And both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, I presume, will have about the same features, just kind of out of the box. So you're relying very much on maybe like little technical tidbits that a few people will care about, but mostly software stuff, right? So you want to have those exclusives, but at the same time, you recognize that you want as many games on your console as possible that your competitors have. And so if you're not being at least a little bit generous about what you'll allow on your console, then it's less likely that people will allow you to have some of their things on your console. And so it's weird because you want to tap into as many markets as possible, but you also want to keep some things for yourself. And I feel like that's increasingly becoming a more difficult balance to strike.
Well, and I get, and this is the last thing I'll say about it. Like, I get why Arcane would go for a deal like that because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last couple Dishonored games did not sell well.
That's what Zach said. Yeah.
Oh, is that what Zach had already said that?
Basically, Bethesda's published games don't have a track record that's particularly good.
They also don't do a fucking great job of like marketing them or.
Nope.
They don't.
Nope.
Or choosing windows of release that makes sense
No,
for them.
not really. No.
So I would see why Arcane would take a deal like that.
After Deathloop, we got a really big Capcom game that a lot of people were excited about.
Street Fighter 6.
John, do you want to talk about Pragmata? Because that was
another
Capcom's
terrible
own
name.
game.
No,
Oh,
I want to talk about
Capcom's
Resident Evil
own-
8.
I
don't
will
know
talk
Resident
about
Evil 8.
Capcom's new original game.
I don't know what's Resident Evil 8. I know Resident Evil Village.
So Resident Evil 8, and I'll just go over this quickly for anybody who did not see the trailer. This is basically, if you're not familiar with the Hookman trailer for the original version of Resident Evil 4, this is basically what that is. And Blaine had made that very good point to me earlier. But you know, you're this is several years after Resident Evil 7. You play as Ethan Winters again. Chris Redfield is back and he's beefy again. You got beefy Chris back. Strong Resident Evil 4 vibes in this village. It's a village in the mountains. And there's supernatural shit, which is weird for Resident Evil. There's werewolves and what look like witches. I am sure there will be a virus at the core of all of this because it is a Resident Evil game. But yeah, like, you know, there were a lot of rumors about this one and they all turned out to be true. Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil 8 Village, which is, you know, going to be the, you know, the subtitle for this, but I'm very excited for this. And we're apparently going to get more details on it in August. I would be stunned if, one, this game doesn't get a demo in August because the original Resident Evil 7 did, and two, I think this game is probably coming out in January, February 2021. That's when the new Resident Evil games.
I don't think it can get a demo because it's PS5, Series X, and PC only, unless it's just a PC demo.
Oh, where is it? Wait, is it really? There's no last.
Yeah, there's not a PS4 or Xbox One version announced.
Shouts out. Cool.
Yeah, Capcom's going next gen only and PC on this one.
Interesting.
Huh. Interesting. Wait, but didn't Xbox say, can't you just fucking play those games on the Xbox One, or is that just?
I thought they said that.
That's only first party.
First party.
No, first party. So.
Boo.
What do we think?
Other companies are not barred from doing.
I assumed this would be playable on PS4 and Xbox One. So that's weird. That's interesting. That's.
No, they announced that it was next gen only. I remember that.
I must have missed that part. But wow, okay, interesting. Okay, well maybe we won't get a demo. Who knows? But I still do think that this game releases are like in January, February of next year. Capcom with the Resident Evil games, they tend to announce them and then release them within about 6 months. So I think that's a safe bet. Does anybody else want to say something on Resident Evil 8? I mean, it's a pretty big title.
No.
Werewolves.
It's Resident Evil 7 in a village with werewolves. Like, it looks great. Resident Evil has been on a fucking kick the last couple years, and this is looking like more of that in a good way.
I agree.
There were some cool vampire vibes too. Justin, sorry.
Yeah. I just thought it was really, really cool to see kind of the blend of like gothic horror stuff with a lot of classic Resident Evil stuff in the first person view, which has only really been done in 7. And I really like, after 2 and 3 were so well received, I didn't know if, you know, we were going to get another first person Resident Evil. I know it's kind of divisive amongst the fan base, but I really like first person Resident Evil as well. So like, I'm really excited for this game. I think it looks really cool.
Hot prediction real quick. At the beginning of the trailer, it said I'm paraphrasing here, but the end of his story comes to an end.
Yeah.
Hot take. They're not talking about Ethan, they're talking about Chris.
I believe it. That's the swerve. They're gonna hit you.
I think Chris Redfield bites the dust in this game.
Chris is gonna be seeing Redfield.
Chris Redfield looks like a different character in every single game that he's in.
He absolutely does.
I don't even know. I mean, I admit I don't know a lot about Resident Evil, but I know like at least a couple of the characters. And every time Chris Redfield shows up in something, I look at him and I'm like, "Who is that?" And then someone says, "That's Chris," and I'm like, I feel like I have an idea of what he looks like, and it's not like that.
To be fair, Chris looks pretty similar in most games, aside from the original and
in 7.
If you take those two out, he looks fairly consistent across, like...
This looks like an older version of Resident Evil 5, Chris.
I don't know. I think he's a fake person.
You think he's a fake... Well, technically, Reb, it's a video game. They're all fake people.
Are you disrespecting Chris Redfield, the man that punched a boulder in a volcano?
Is a fake person.
I would My experience of Resident Evil is that when I was like like 12 and I had a GameCube, my parents, who knew nothing about video games, bought me Resident Evil 0 because they saw that it had a girl named Rebecca in it.
Rebecca's great though.
12-year-old Becca at the time did not like that.
That's fantastic. Why did you do this to me, Mom? That's great.
I quit that game after the first 10 minutes. It was not.
I can imagine.
It's
I can
terrifying.
imagine. Who else has got some Resident Evil 8 opinions here?
No.
Nobody? Okay. Well, what's next, Finn? What do we got?
All right, next is Derek's gonna give us his thoughts on Capcom's brand new next-gen IP, Pragmata.
Yeah, so we know fucking nothing about this game. It is wild looking.
False. It takes place in space.
Cool. It is wild looking. It is it definitely has at least a little bit of Kojima energy to it in terms of like it's going very wild and visual and not wanting to explain what it is. I deeply love that kind of wild Capcom energy of the weird astronaut type main character, whatever, is about to crash into the satellite and creates this weird viney bouncy ball thing around him that cushions the impact. Like, it's definitely very imaginative. I just love Capcom when Capcom's willing to do original stuff. Capcom is so underrated because they've had a very good few years, but before a few years ago, they'd been having a very bad long stretch. But Capcom, when they're willing to do weird, very experimental, non-traditional games, they can make some of the most like engaging in terms of gameplay and risky games in the industry for AAA publishers. So I had been saying before we went in that I just wanted to see Capcom do something that wasn't Resident Evil. And here we go. We got Capcom getting weird again. So I'm in.
And it's interesting to see that like the turnaround from the beginning of the PS4 generation to now has just been incredible. Justin, I'm sorry.
I mean, I just think the thing that was exciting for me about this, I mean, I didn't really know what the trailer was, but it looked cool, is that, you know, this kind of Capcom renaissance that we've talked about from the past few years is them kind of getting both their technology, their production line, and their long-running franchises on track.
It's getting talent in the right places. Yeah. But this is the first like new thing they've done since that started, and that's why it's exciting for me. It's like I'm really excited that we got a good Devil May Cry game. I'm really excited that they're pumping out great Resident Evil games at a ridiculous pace, quite frankly. Yeah.
One a year.
I'm excited that Monster Hunter is on consoles and good. But seeing something new from Capcom at this point in time when they've been on such a hot streak is really, really exciting to me.
I will say one thing about Pragmata, and I basically Kojima trained me about this. When they flashed the name on, the A and the middle of the M forming a V were highlighted. So I don't know what that means, but now
I don't think it means anything. It's Capcom. Like
I don't know, man.
It means airy lies.
Airy Lies was the exact reference I was gonna make, Rem.
I will say,
Thank you.
the guy's helmet looked very Dead Space-esque. Like, I thought it might have been Dead Space at first. Like, I was like, oh shit, what do we got here? And
The
then
thing that I mainly enjoyed about that trailer was everybody in my work slot going, what is this? Is this Death Stranding? Maybe it's is this a Death Stranding DLC? What is it? No, wait, I don't think it's Death Stranding. What is this? It looks a little bit like Devil May Cry. What is this? I don't understand. Why is it like just yelling out just the randomest fucking games it could possibly be?
I think right off the bat, Derek was like, "Oh, Kojima." Like, this
Look, the main character's
game.
design looks a lot like that Luden's character, whatever you call it.
Yeah,
That is the.
I thought it was too.
Yeah, it's
Space
very
Man
similar.
I thought it
in
was
the big
too.
city.
Yeah.
All right.
That would have been an amazing name, Reb. Spaceman in the big city.
I
We
gotcha.
have one final game left, and it was the big one everyone was waiting for. And Justin and I think, might be the biggest fans of the franchise in this group. I
Reb
know.
loves it. Reb loves it.
Oh, does she? Yeah.
Reb loves it.
Let me just bring out my
Oh, she's
unnecessary.
beautiful, my heart. Look at
Oh,
her.
so
Look at how
we-
good she is.
everyone that was calling it Horizon Zero Dawn 2 was wrong because it's actually Horizon Forbidden West.
Horizon
Okay, but we
Second
didn't know.
Dawn,
We
Second
didn't
Dawn
know.
would have been a
You
better
just
name.
slap a number
No.
on this.
I know.
Forbidden
I'm
West is
so
a great
excited.
nonsense Zero Dawn is a subtitle that fucking slapped, even though it means nothing. Like, it
Nothing.
scans
well, the
very well, but
It means
it's
a lot.
it's
Yeah,
bullshit.
Zero
Yeah,
Dawn.
it's actually a really important type
Well,
like
it is.
that-
thing.
you-
in the
let's
you
be
make
fair.
up
Let's be
whatever
fair.
meaning you want.
Zero Dawn is the kind of title that somebody comes
Yeah.
up with because it sounds cool, and then realizes midway
Yes.
through the writing of the game, oh wait, we need to actually make this mean
You need
something.
to build a narrative
Saying
around
let's
it.
take our big
Right.
That's
thing that
fair.
we're going to talk about and call it Zero Dawn.
Saying Zero Dawn
Yeah.
has
That's
deep
what it
meaning
is.
like saying that there's a good reason why Quiet doesn't wear any fucking clothes in Metal Gear Solid 5. Like, you can make up whatever you want.
Canonically,
Exactly.
you're
So
right.
I
So-
love that they didn't go for like New Dawn or Second Dawn or Zero Dawn 2, that they were just like, what's
Yeah, I'm
another
glad.
fucking nonsense pair of words?
Dawn
Forbidden
Rising.
West. Let's go.
gotta say-
So if you look at the stylization of the art, I originally thought it was Horizon 2 Forbidden West because the little line between them has like a little like Roman numeral 2
Yeah,
in
I
it.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is giant robot turtle.
Yes.
Giant
Look,
robot turtle.
any-
I'm fucking all over it.
Real quick, Justin. Anytime the game went underwater, it was so pretty. Justin, go.
So I had been talking with some people about things I wanted to see in Horizon 2. And one of the things I mentioned that got everybody angry at
Was
me
it turtle?
was underwater exploration, because I thought it would be really cool. I'm like, Aloy could construct a rebreather out of machine parts and stuff. And what was this trailer showing a lot of? Underwater exploration with Aloy having like
I
a
will
built
just say this is a
rebreather.
cursed request because swimming mechanics have never been. There's not a single game with good swimming in it, not one.
I
You
have-
cannot name
I
one.
rarely mind it. I've never understood why people hate it so much, but I don't know. I was so excited to see this game, and elephant machine war horses, like
About the Mumakil. Like, yeah, the
Yeah.
fucking Oliphants. Yeah, hell yeah. Lord of the Rings shit right there, man.
I have deep anxiety
just-
about underwater stuff, so fun.
But no, that reveal. I really wish we had seen some kind of gameplay clip. I mean, I know it's coming soon, but like that reveal is really, really great. I had booted up the first game earlier this week. Oh, John?
Oh, no.
You were talking. Continue, Justin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I had actually booted up the first game earlier this week just to kind of run around for a little bit to pass the time, and just was like instantly overcome with, I miss this character, I miss this world, I miss exploring it. And so like, for me, this is actually the first game reveal in a while that like really hit me deep, like a lot used to hit me when I was a little kid. Because the first one resonated so deeply with me, and I am so excited to see where this game goes.
John.
What's really interesting to me is that it appears that we are going to be traveling across a huge breadth of distance in the new Horizon game. We saw a huge desert. We saw what appears to be China, San Francisco.
See,
I get the sense that we are going to be
I mean-
traveling across the world in this game.
John, the first game had jungles in Utah, so like
No, but what I'm saying, but Utah doesn't have like a huge desert, and there's a Chinese themed dragon along with some Chinese characters. You saw the Golden Gate Bridge. Like I get the sense that we might be traveling a great distance in this. At least I hope so. But the theme that I got from this was that you're going on a very long journey. So yeah, like I mean, I could be wrong, but I get the sense that this game is going to be much broader in scope.
Like 60 hours? Like how long are we talking?
Dude, it's going to be a lot big ass game. I mean,
give it to me.
This is going to be a big one, a long fucking game.
I have two hopes for this game, because as much as I loved Zero Dawn, I platinumed it, I cracked out hard on it. There's two things I would really like to see the sequel bring. One is improve the combat when you're not fighting giant awesome robot dinosaurs. If you can improve the human enemy aspect.
It does need to be improved, yeah.
No, because the stick combat, like the melee stuff, was weak. And I have full faith that they'll fix it. And 2, we got that one clip of her like free climbing. I really hope we get more
Breath
like
of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild
Yes,
style,
yes.
like actual exploration.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, like
I don't care that it's like, I don't care if people go, oh, they just ripped that from Breath of the Wild. I want that fucking free climbing shit to just show up in every open world game. Like, I don't want any more of this Skyrim bullshit where I walk into a mountain and my horse and I walk into a mountain and we just like walk into the mountain for like half an hour. I just want to be able to fucking climb everything. I want that to be the new normal. We just like do that now all the time. And if you have the budget and the capability of making a giant 3 open world game, just let me do that. And then that's like fine. That can be Breath of the Wild's big mark on everything, is that now we can just climb everything. Great. You see that mountain? You can always climb it in every game.
Yep.
I mean, even if it's
absolutely.
just like how the recent Assassin's Creeds have done it, that would be perfect for me. Like, just like, yeah, I definitely want more climbing, because I think climbing plus underwater exploration plus they prototyped it for the first game and it just wouldn't work on the PS4. And I wonder if it could work on PS5, was flying on some mounts and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that would be so cool and add so much, like, just, like, depth to this world to explore. And I think that could be really cool. It's really exciting, and I really want to see more from this game. I have very high hopes for this game because I think it's probably one of the only, like, huge budget AAA next-gen only games we're going to see for a while like this. That's like a big open world RPG.
It's also important to note that, like,
John, go ahead.
Games announced in how many years? Well,
I think
I'm getting a delay. I'm not trying to talk over everybody, but for some reason I'm getting delayed here.
Yeah, that got weird.
Yeah,
Anyway.
were you asking it was the first, like, new AAA game they've revealed in
Right? Yeah.
how many
Like
years?
how many years has it been since they've actually revealed a new one?
The last AAA reveal from Sony was in 2017 with Ghost of Tsushima.
Wow. So 3 years. Okay.
No,
Interesting.
no,
Been a
no, no,
while.
no. Wait, oh my god, no. No, that was 2018,
Yep.
Justin.
Oh, 2018?
Wait,
2018.
No, Ghost of
revealed?
Tsushima was 2017.
Revealed.
Was that revealed in 2017?
It was
Yeah.
Paris Games Week 2017.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Did they not reveal anything new at E3 2018?
Nope.
No. I don't
No,
believe they did.
that was
No.
that was the 10th year.
That
I
was
know I
out
was
of the hands of-
there. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
believe they did.
That was the year they did
Last
Last of
of Us,
Us,
Ghost-
Death Stranding, and Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I guess we had
as,
already
like,
seen
the
all
big
4
ones.
of those things. Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
Eh.
Sorry,
Okay.
Justin. I wasn't trying to talk over you. I had a really weird sound delay there. Like
No,
Yeah, that got
that's
weird.
fine. I was trying to make sure that you got your point through that you were asking, because you kind of cut out for me.
So that wraps it up, and we are rapidly approaching the 2-hour mark on this show. But I want to end with a final question. Just, you don't really have to explain your reason. Just give me your answer. What is the one game you were hoping to see revealed at this conference that was not, that you're hoping to see soon?
Silent Hill.
I'll go in the order that I see you on my screen. So Derek,
Silent Hill.
John,
Final Fantasy 16.
Reb.
I don't know. What's a Sony game?
It doesn't have to be a Sony game.
Doesn't have to be a
What
Sony game.
where you're-
Pass. Go. Ask me in a minute.
All right, Justin.
I don't know. Everything I kind of was hoping was going to be there was there, plus more. But
Death
I
Stranding.
guess if it
I'm
had to
kind
be
of there
one,
with Justin. Yeah.
it was it. I guess there was the rumors around Silent Hill, but it was Konami, so I don't get my hopes up too high. But I guess because there was some smoke there, I'd disappointed, but I didn't take them all that
I mean, I'm
seriously.
confident Silent Hill is a real thing, but
All right.
I'm in the
Next.
same. Sorry,
Okay.
I've got mine. I'm in the same boat as Justin, and that like the things that I was hoping for were there. I think the one like kind of weird thing that I was sort of so the rumor I believe is that Blue Point was working on 2 games.
That
not
was a
just-
rumor, yeah.
That was the rumor, and we knew that one was Demon Souls, so that was not a shock. But the very dumb me wants their second thing to be something just like ridiculous. I mean, I joke about Legend of Dragoon. I think that would be incredible. I don't think that's like the only option there. I think there are plenty of like weird other remakes they could be working on that could be very amusing and very interesting. And I was just sort of hoping to see like that, or like Ape Escape, or like some other older franchise just reappear, like just for shits and grins. Why not?
Reb, weren't a lot of people saying it was Metal Gear Solid?
That's one of the many things I just heard someone say, like Castlevania Symphony
People
of the Night
guessed
somehow. Like why
everything.
would that be there? I don't know, but you know.
That's what happens at these things. People's imaginations run wild, but Zach has not had a chance to go.
Yeah. So 2 things. One, this is not happening because their next thing is going to be a reboot of sorts. But I would love a Bad Company 3 for the Battlefield series. Always like the Bad Company games. But I also want to say that if you are if you wanted a little bit more from Sony, the PC gaming show is on Saturday.
Bloodborne.
Well, I don't know about that,
All right.
but definitely Horizon. That's it.
Now, and for me, the one I was really hoping for was that we would finally see Rocksteady's next game. I was really hoping
Yeah.
it would show up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Warner Brothers
yeah.
should have their own presentation soon, so because they got a lot coming.
I
up.
want to know the story behind what's going on with whatever that Batman game is, because we started getting teases for it like last October, and then it just hasn't materialized in some way.
Okay.
So
But
Well-
I was so expecting Agent to show up, and it didn't.
Oh, maybe next time, John.
You know, we
All
didn't
right.
see Metroid Prime Trilogy. What
no,
the fuck?
no Metroid, no Mario. Like what the
No.
fuck was this? I can't believe it. No Forza.
So-
Like
I don't normally in the show. Does anyone want to tell me what I'm supposed to say? I know it's like
Tonight?
we don't always.
you
get
know what
along,
the
and it's
Finn. You've been doing this
not
for years.
always poetry. John's opinions are bad, but we love you guys, and come tune into Stuff Weekly and check out our stuff. Did I nail it? I think I nailed it. I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
did
I
great. It was
That's the
fantastic.
ending.
Yes. Someone else actually finished it though. I know it's been so long.
All right, little housekeeping. So yeah, we're live. We're doing content again. You know, we're back at it. We've got the. I can go ahead and. No, you know what? I'm gonna keep that one close to my chest for later. Just a guest coming up in the next month and a half. But I'm gonna keep my powder dry on that one.
Okay.
Stay tuned for some big stuff on next week's episode. We got some big stuff to talk about, I believe,
Yes.
right? So,
Yeah,
Yes.
we're gunning for some good guests coming up.
yeah, we got that. It's all
Yeah.
gonna be good. Donate to local bail funds.
Please donate to local bail funds. Please. And with that, if nobody has anything else, it's not always poetry, and we don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next Thursday, take care of each other. We love you, and we will see you later.
Saki bless.